Minimalism versus maximalism, both two very different sides of the same coin. It's a different way of self-expression, lifestyle, and interior design. But what are the pros of these? What are the cons of these? What type of person is more likely to benefit from these two different interiors? What are the psychological effects? I mean, I want to know these answers. And today we're going to do a deep dive into it. So let's get started. So what is minimalism? Minimalism has been around for quite some time, and it actually started as an art movement in New York in the late 1950s and 1960s. It emerged as a reaction against abstract expressionism by stripping down art to its essential geometric forms and materials. But its roots do lie in ancient philosophy and Japanese Zen aesthetics. The lifestyle and the interiors of minimalism really started gaining popularity, though, in the early 2000s. And this was said to be backlash against 90s consumerism. And it was also attributed to new sleek technology like Apple. And then in 2011, a life-changing book was released called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo, which taught people how to let go of their items and keep things intentionally. But soon after, in 2016, a documentary called Minimalism was released, and I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. This really took minimalism to the next level. This really taught people that you can actually live with less and be happier while doing it, and be able to appreciate the things that you have by not like collecting a bunch of stuff. This was truly life-changing. Many people saw this trend as an opportunity to shed their attachments to their items, and this was a very good thing. But then in 2020, something changed, obviously. People got stuck at home, and their home started to feel, like a prison. And this created a lot of redecorating and collecting new things and expressing yourself in your home because you weren't getting stimulated by the outside world anymore. And then that is when maximalism really started to take over. Maximalism, which is the more is more design philosophy, has deep historical roots in Baroque and Victorian interiors, so it's actually been around for quite some time. It became a trend around the 1980s, from what I've read, as a reaction to minimalism, and it ended up resurfacing in the media around 2018. Then in 2020, it strongly appeared again due to people being stuck at home, like I just mentioned. Overall, maximalism taught us to value our possessions, and that more stuff can actually lead to self-expression. So what is maximalism interiors? All right, well, a lot of people think maximalism means a cluttered space, and that is not what it is. In fact, it's actually a more curated space, and yes, it does contain a lot of items, but every item that you keep has meaning and story behind it. You really want your space to be somewhere that evokes creativity, that really just heightens your senses, that brings a sense of warmth and inspiration to you when you see it. So how do you make your space look maximalist? For a space like this, you really want to aim for bold colors, statement pieces, dramatic wallpapers, textures, patterns, interesting decor, gallery walls. Display your favorite items that have stories. Really lean into layering, get some interesting lighting. The goal here is curated, and this is very much the difference between something that is cluttered or a mess, as opposed to something that is maximalist. You shouldn't be keeping every single item. You should only keep selective items with history and actually curate everything in a way that's visually pleasing to the eye. And when done correctly, it can make a super unique space. All right, so moving on to some deeper talks about maximalism. I was curious, does maximalism actually help your productivity or dampen it? So according to cognitive load theory and neuroscience and environmental psychology, it actually confirms that an overabundance of stuff or clutter in your environment overloads your brain, increasing cognitive load by forcing you to filter irrelevant stimuli, even if you are unconscious of it. The reason is because your brain has a finite capacity for processing information. So if you have a lot of things in your environment, this can likely lead to slower task completion, reduced focus, irritability, anxiety, stress, decision fatigue, and increased errors when working. So what is the psychology behind maximalism? I bet you guys didn't think I was going to go in this deep, but I tried warning you. Okay, so there's no single personality type for a person that has maximalist traits. In fact, pretty much any way that you could have been raised can lead to maximalism. So there's nothing I can really say here. But there is a dissertation that was done on maximalism versus minimalism preferences and all of the other articles I just talked about. I'll link below. And this article does say that openness, with the definition being lack of restriction, predicts interest in more complex and emotionally engaging visual styles, suggesting that maximalism is actually tied to personal expression. Yeah, okay, so what are the pros and cons of this interior design? Okay, so the pros, obviously, your space is gonna be so creative, it's gonna be extremely unique to you. When you keep items that hold rich history and memories, it means that your home is kind of like your own personal museum that you can come home to, and it feels extremely comforting, right? It also means that you don't have to let go of things if you don't want to. You know, you're never forced to let go of things. You can keep that collection of Beanie Babies if you want to and display them in boxes or something. I'm just giving examples here. Yeah, you don't have to let go of things. And it also means that you'll probably be getting more little dopamine hits throughout the day because your place is a little more overstimulating than other places. Okay, but what are the cons? Buckle up, buddy. What are the cons? Okay, so the cons of this, in my personal opinion, is that it can easily become something that's overwhelming. And it can also become something that ends up being expensive if you are collecting so much and you're spending a lot of money on items to fill your space. But where it starts to really dip down into something dangerous is when you're unable to maintain the items you are accumulating. If it gets to the point where you start to take anything into your home, or you start keeping everything and you're not intentional about what you keep, because the difference between like a cluttered home and a maximalist home is you're still going to be intentional about what you're bringing in, and everything is curated and displayed in a way that is visually pleasing to the eye, kind of like an art pop-up. That's how I like to think of it. So if it gets to the point where your friend's like, oh, do you want this? And you take it, but it has nowhere to go. And you start storing stuff away in boxes and nothing's displayed. And it's to the point that the things that you originally collected, it's hidden away. That's when you start going on the, well, probably have too much. Like if it gets to the point where you actually can't let go of anything, then it's called hoarding, I think. Anyways, you know, I might be considered a maximalist in my interiors, but you know what's not maximalist about me? My jewelry stacks. And that leads me to today's sponsor. Of the video, Quince. Quince, I'm so happy to work with them. I actually really love their jewelry, and it's super affordable and it's durable. It's built to last. Yeah, if you know me, you know that I love really good jewelry, like not stuff that's gonna tarnish, stuff that actually lasts, stuff that's durable, because I don't want to buy stuff every other month. So I'm wearing 14 karat gold necklaces right now, and these are just absolutely stunning pieces. Not only are they classic and timeless, and I can wear them every single day because they match every outfit. They're just like little dainty, pretty necklaces. But on top of that, I'm moving to Thailand, guys. I'm gonna be living island life for quite some time. That means I'm in the ocean all the time. I'm in the pool all the time. I sweat a lot. I didn't need to tell you that, but like in Thailand, it's 100% humidity. I'm gonna be sweating. And since I wear my jewelry stacks nonstop, if you get the wrong jewelry, it tarnishes and it looks so bad. This stuff is actually gonna hold up for a long time. I also got a vermeil ring, which is a more affordable option to 14 karat gold. Now, all the items I showed here, I will link below for you along with her website. And if you are interested in shopping with them at any point, they do offer $20 off your first purchase if you sign up to their email list. Thank you so much to Quince for sponsoring today's video. And I really hope we can work together again because I really love your stuff. And let's get back to the video. All right, let's get back to it. And I'm gonna do a really fun transition for you here, okay? I just thought of this. I don't know if we're gonna try it, okay? All right, now let's talk about minimalism. I hope that worked. I don't know. Was that good? When people think of minimalism, they typically think of an empty space with one spoon, one fork, no couch, no TV, no decor, because and there's zero color. It's like white. It's very sterile. But let's talk about what minimalism actually is, because it can be that, but it's not that. Minimalism is a lifestyle and design philosophy that focuses on intentionality. So the things that you choose to keep in your life in general and in your home are going to be things that have purpose, that add value and support your goals. And everything else that doesn't do that gets stripped away. And it's not just in interiors, it's in your life too. The idea is that instead of valuing possessions You value experiences more. And when you do this, you end up creating space and time and energy for things that you truly want to do without being distracted by anything else. So what does minimalistic interior design look like? Minimalism interiors focus on simplicity, functionality, uncluttered spaces using only essential elements to create calm, serene environments with clean lines, neutral colors, natural light, with quality simple furnishings with a less is more philosophy. It also adds in natural elements like wood, stone, wool, linen, and plants. So that being said, do minimalist interiors actually help your productivity or does it dampen it? Okay, so based off of scientific evidence, it actually says that minimalism can make you more productive in certain situations, but it's not a universal thing. It really depends on the type of task that's happening in the environment. But strong evidence does show that minimalist and low clutter environments improve sustained attention, working memory, performance, reading, writing, studying, coding, and error reduction. And this is because you're actually lowering your cognitive load, mental fatigue, and lowering visual stimuli by reducing the visual clutter that is surrounding you. And on top of that, this type of environment also reduces stress and anxiety for people who tend to get overwhelmed easily. So for work that actually requires deep focus, minimalism is very beneficial. So what is the psychology behind people that tend to go towards minimalism? So minimalism, as I've mentioned, is not tied to a certain personality type because minimalism, people tend to arrive at minimalism for their own separate reasons. This is not typically a way that people grow up. Like that to me is unheard of. I don't know anybody that's ever grown up in a home that had little to nothing around. People that are more sensitive to distractions and mental overload, that have a high desire for control or have high self-regulation, tend to perform better in a minimalist environment. And one of the highest psychological predictors of adopting minimalism at some point in your life is going to be your stress history. So what are the pros and the cons of having a minimalist home? Okay, so first, the benefits of a minimalistic home is going to be maintenance, keeping up with your things, cleaning, keeping track of everything, so much easier. And because you end up having less, you actually stress less. And adopting this lifestyle also means that it reduces your consumption overall. Like the clutter that comes into your home, it's most likely not going to happen. You're most likely not going to have a junk drawer because when someone offers you something for free and you realize, I actually don't need this, you're more conscious about the decision of whether to take it or not. And if you do remote work from home, this can definitely be a really good calm space for being able to stay focused, less stressed, and support your productivity. But what are the cons? The cons are that it can definitely feel a bit bare. It can feel sterile. It can feel a little bit like it's unlived in maybe. It can also mean that when you have people or guests over, you might not have enough tableware to serve everyone, and you might have to go buy paper plates, or you might not have silverware or enough chairs to seat everybody. That could be a downside. And if you do go too far left with this, then it could just feel a little bit uninspiring to you if it's a blank space. Another con would be that you might develop guilt about bringing anything into your home. So I think the downsides of this really only comes into play when people take it to the extremes. So after all of this, which design style is best for us? What do we benefit from more? So based off of everything I've read, we know that having an abundance of a lot of items around us is actually increasing our cognitive load. It makes it more difficult for us to focus on hard tasks. It increases stress, anxiety, and it can increase decision fatigue over time. Now, for minimalism, having less does decrease stress and anxiety. It can make you more productive, improve sustained attention, memory, performance, error reduction, and it does decrease cognitive load. And all of these things are positive, given the scientific research of having less around you and how it does benefit your brain. I would say minimalism is probably more healthy, and that doesn't mean having nothing. It just means having less. Probably having less is more. I think that saying speaks true to me. And I think that when you have less, you value the things you have more. And if I'm giving my personal opinion, I would say that I think that you can do both, right? I think that you can have items, but be intentional about what you bring into your home and not overdo it. I make it a rule of thumb to never keep stuff I have to store away. But yeah, I do think that a healthy mix of both can exist. So after all of this, which one speaks to you? I want to know. Which one do you think is more beneficial based off of what I've said? You can disagree with this 100%. I don't care. Disagree. Let's talk about it in the comments. I want to hear your personal opinions about this. I want to hear about your life. I want to hear about your experiences. If you've tried minimalism, if you haven't tried minimalism and you're interested, if it's beneficial, if maximalism is where you thrive more, because this is all personal experiences and context really matters here when it comes to this. But I like having my home aesthetically pleasing. Does it make me more productive? I really don't know. We're going to find out because I'm in the process of selling all my belongings because I'm moving abroad. So I'm going to go down to 3 suitcases. Maybe I'll be more productive because I have less. We'll report back about that. I'm actually curious. I'm willing to give it a go. But all that to say, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting. I know this was a weird deep dive, but I just really was curious, like which one's actually healthier. I know maximalism is really trending up right now in interiors, so I just thought maybe this would interest you. I don't know. If not, I'm happy I did the video anyways. Now I have an answer for myself. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts below. I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye. I'm gonna walk away because that's more entertaining.